Hi there, everyone, and welcome to Paper Wishes weekly webisodes. I'm Sarah Newman, and I'm really excited to show you these beautiful supplies from our friends at Stamperia. Today we're playing with the Cosmos collection, which features some absolutely gorgeous papers, rub-ons, and coordinating die cuts. So let's take a look at our pack of 8x8 backgrounds. Now this contains 10 sheets of double-sided papers patterned with beautiful celestial imagery. Really gorgeous color palette that they have here. Lots of dark purples and blues, some lighter tones in here as well for some nice contrast. I think these are just stunning. True to Stamperia style, you've got a nice collage effect. You've also got some text in here, some faux texture, and of course, although they're backgrounds, you can also cut these apart to use portions of the background papers or to create borders as well. This is another favorite of mine. Now to go along, you've got a set of coordinating rub-ons, which I absolutely love. These are really unique and super versatile, also very easy to use, and we'll talk about how to apply those. Then we've also got that pack of 33 chipboard die cuts to go along, and I've kind of spread them out so you can see what is inside that package. So as you can tell, lots of nice large images here, some smaller pieces as well. Here's another sheet that shows some more of those. So some really beautiful imagery, great fun to use on your cards and paper crafts. Now, of course, everything is coordinated to make it easy to create beautiful projects. So today I'll share a few card designs with you, and we'll also incorporate some specialty papers from hot off the press to add some extra dimension to our projects. As you can see, we have a lot to explore today, and I'm so glad that you're here. Come play with us. Let's start with this fun and sparkly card. Now here I'm using the center step cutting die to create the base for my card. And what I love about this format is how it creates this kind of center stage for a card focal, and it's just the perfect place to put a large chipboard die cut like this Pegasus. So let's take a look at the die and how to use it. So I'll bring in the package and the die here, and you can see. So here you go, it's the center step cutting die, and as you can see, it's just one large die that will do all of your cutting and your scoring. So the piece looks just like this, nice and sturdy. I really like that. So you've got your cutting lines, of course, going around the outside, and then the side flaps here, and then also the scoring lines on here as well. So you don't have to do a whole lot except for cut and fold. Makes it really, really easy. So let me flip over the package, and you can see also we've got all of the instructions for this really fun card project here. And then you've also got your indicators, your mountain folds and your valley folds on here too. So when you die cut your piece, it will look like this. So as you can see, I've got my cut lines, I've got my score lines, and then just simply fold this up, tuck this part down, and what I like to do is just use a bone folder to quickly score these folded edges, and that will just make it nice and crisp. Now you can do this card and this die cutting card from any kind of cardstock. You can also use a card blank if you want to. Now for my card, I use champagne glitter cardstock from Paper Wishes, and this gives some sparkle to my card, and I really love how the warm tones of the cardstock, the glitter cardstock, coordinate with this golden color in the Pegasus and also this pattern paper from the Cosmos set that I used in here. I also added a few star-shaped rub-ons right onto that pattern paper, and I think those just add another nice element to this beautiful pattern design. Then for contrast, I've got this frame going around here. Now, if I move this a little bit, I think you can see some of that shine. So this is metallic silver cardstock, and I just love how beautifully this coordinates with the glittery cardstock and also, of course, the theme of our Cosmos collection today. And then to finish, I have a script dazzle down here at the bottom. Now you can see some chipboard die cuts on either side here, and I've got a couple of tips for these two sections of your center step card. So first of all, when you place your elements here, especially some larger die cuts or other embellishments, just keep in mind when you open the card how it will look on the back when you open up that card. So in this case, because there were lots of duplicates in the die cut pack, I was able to do double-sided embellishments. So I've got this card here and the same one here on the front. So that way it's not showing the white back of this piece. Now same thing for this element here, and then this little guy was so small that didn't really need it. So one tip is to make sure that you've got a good idea of what's going on the inside of your card. And the second tip, especially with thick or heavy elements like these chipboard die cuts, is to use a really sturdy adhesive just to make sure that those will stay in place. Now for the card inside, I also have another square here of this pattern paper. I've got another silver metallic scalloped piece. And I've got some die cuts here and also a rub-on sentiment, which is just right onto that beautiful pattern paper. Now, if you're new to rub-ons, never fear, I will show you how easy it is to apply them. I've used two of the rub-ons for this card focal. I've got this beautiful vintage-inspired globe and the word essence. Now, one thing I want to point out is that the word essence is overlapping that globe. So don't forget, you can do some layering and overlapping with your rub-ons to apply one and then apply a second one on top. So you've got some layering options there with your rub-ons, which is a lot of fun. Now I've applied both of these onto white vellum, and the white vellum is laid on top of some pattern paper. That will ghost it back a little bit and allow the rub-on design to show up. So this is a tip I always like to keep in mind when I'm layering elements on pattern paper. Sometimes just placing a piece of vellum on top of the pattern paper will soften it a little bit. So I thought I'd just pull a couple of sheets here and I can show you a good example. Now with this design here, I just absolutely love the colors and the pattern on here. And if I wanted to add another element on top that I wanted to really stand out, bringing in a piece of white vellum really makes a difference. So I can simply position this on here. I can still see the design back here, but I have a place for either some journaling or a sentiment, something that I want to stand out a little bit more. But take a look. You can really see the difference between the two of those. Now if I flip over this pattern paper and I've got another really gorgeous dark design, I can also do the same thing here. Now you don't have to cover the piece entirely. You can also die cut this vellum into a square, rectangle, oval to create a space that is muted back, but that you still have the rest of that background paper to show up in all of its beautiful colors and richness. So just something to keep in mind. Now you can easily apply rub-ons onto vellum. So let me do a quick little demo for you here. Let me grab a rub-on here. I'll move this piece of paper out of the way. And I've got one of these images here from the sheet. Now I've cut this out from the backing sheet and I've left it on that white backing piece. So here's the rub-on portion and then here's that liner. Now what I need to do is have a tool or something that I can use to transfer that design. And a bone folder will come in handy. So I'm going to grab that and simply pull off this backing piece. And then I can kind of position, kind of see where I want this to go. Maybe I'll position it up here in the corner. And then I just need to place this down and sort of gently smooth that down. Now there's a bit of, it's not adhesive, but there's a bit of tackiness to the back of the rub-on, which means that it's not going to slide around as you're doing the application. So you just smooth this down with your finger and then take your bone folder. Now with vellum, vellum can crease pretty easily, so you want to make sure when you're working with the bone folder that you're not sort of going in with the tip of it like so, but that you're using this angled tip to gently burnish this design. So I'm going to go around all areas of this, and I'm working gently but firmly. So I'm not using a whole lot of arm muscle here. But I also want to make sure that I'm getting all of this design completely transferred. Okay, Okay, so I'm just going to lift up a little tiny portion here and pull this back slowly and make sure, oh, it looks like I've got another element here I need to get down. So I can make sure as I'm doing this that I've transferred all of that design. And if I haven't, I can just place that piece back in place and go back and burnish a little bit more. So here we go. Voila, and there is my transferred piece. Now what I can do is bring this back in here and you can see how that will stand out. Really quick and easy way to add a nice layer of dimension onto your project. Okay, so for the rest of my card, I have a bigger piece of pattern paper just right on the card front, and I inked around the outside edges using the Midas Gold ink. I've got another smaller piece here in the center. Now this has been mounted up onto white glitter cardstock, and this just adds a nice touch of sparkle and some contrast between these two pattern papers. Then for my card inside, I've got a piece of this beautiful Pegasus paper, and all I need to do is add this little element here. Now this is from one of the background papers in the paper pack, and I just trimmed this section out of the background collage, and that's really all I need to do to add a sentiment onto this gorgeous background paper in here. And then I've got my completed card. For my finishing touches, I've got a birdie die cut and a little piece of ribbon just for some added softness. This card also uses a combination of pattern papers, rub-ons, and die cuts, plus some more specialty papers. So starting with the card front, I've covered this with this gorgeous pattern design and then added a piece of contrasting paper on top. And I inked the edges with gold metallic ink for definition, just to create a bit of visual space between these two patterns, and then made the focal with this owl die cut. So these two circles that you see here are chipboard pieces from hot off the press, which were painted with Ranger's Dilution paints in Balmy Night and Desert Sand. So it makes it really nice and easy and a great fun focal element here. Now you can see a lot of shine and pattern here as I'm angling this right behind this owl. Now this is Snowfall acetate, and normally you would think of this for use on Christmas and winter cards, but the pattern makes a fun sort of abstract design on non-winter projects too. So I think you can see this here. You got a lot of shine, you got the reflection in here, but just take a look at that beautiful design. Now it's very dramatic on black, but as you can see, it also looks great on white. So this is just working with that vellum. You can see some of that shine there. And then also, let me grab a piece of this pattern paper here, and you can see how beautiful that is as well. So you've got some really beautiful soft definition in here and a little bit of, I don't know, maybe that's cosmic matter, dark matter swirling around in the cosmos. Just adds a really nice touch, but also a really fun and simple kind of abstract polka dot design in this case here. So I've die cut that acetate into a circle, and yes, you can die cut it really easily. It die cuts beautifully. And then I added a rub-on top. So yes, you can add rub-ons to the acetate as well. And then I've just added it onto the chipboard circles. Then I've got my owl chipboard piece plus two feather elements. These are popped up on a little bit of foam tape. And then I've got this shine rub-on on the die cut. And I have to say, I really like how the rub-ons work on so many different surfaces, from the vellum we just saw to the acetate to the glossy surface of the die cut here. And what really surprised me was how nicely the rub-ons work on glitter cardstock. And that's what I've done here. I've got the Lucky Star rub-on applied onto white glitter cardstock. And I was just so happy to see that it transferred beautifully, even with such a fine and detailed script. Now the glitter cardstock has a bit of texture to it. It's not super bumpy, but it was definitely a surprise to me that the rub-on transferred so beautifully. So then I die cut that piece into a circle and added some more patterned paper back here. Got some more patterned paper along the edge and then this border element here too. And then there's some more snowfall acetate over here on this side as well. Adds just a really nice touch and a little bit more dimension. And of course, it's a little bit more tactile as well. Okay, now for our last card, I also have some snowfall acetate to create a snow scene here. And what I've done is die cut both pieces into circles. So there's my snowfall directly on top of my patterned background paper. And this does create a really nice snow scene here. Then I've placed them along with this lovely wolf die cut onto a folded card front. So this is how it will open up. And this is a really simple card design to do. So I'm going to grab a blank card and we can take a look at this. So here's where my center fold is. So I'm just going to fold this up, grab my bone folder. This really comes in handy. Just make sure that that has a nice crisp crease. And then I'm just going to fold the front flap back to meet the fold of the card. So smooth this down. Again, grab that bone folder and crease this. And then I will have my folded card front. And this is just a really fun way to create something that's just a little bit different with your cards, but it's quick and easy to do. It creates a really fun effect. So then again, when I open this up, you can see I've got my pattern paper here, got another little piece of it here, as well as some chipboard die cuts. I've got two rub-ons here. I've got a rub-on on that snowflake acetate, which you can see really nicely, Free Spirit. And then I've got another rub-on here overlapping the patterned paper. And then I've got all of my edges inked with gold as well as with the other cards, just to give another element of texture and shine. And that is our final card project today, featuring the Cosmos collection from Stamperia. Let me fit this card in here as well. And a big thank you to our friends at Stamperia, and a special thanks to you for joining me today. We're super glad that you're here, and we're really happy you're a part of the Paper Wishes family. Do feel free to leave a comment. We love to hear what you think. Each item can be purchased separately, and you can see them below. However, we've also bundled them into a creative money saver just for you. For the money saver, just see this webisode on paperwishes.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube, just have a look in the description box below this video. You'll find a link that will take you to our Paper Wishes webisodes page, and you can see everything I just mentioned. If you enjoyed our video today, we'd really appreciate a thumbs up. It helps people to find our channel. And don't forget to subscribe. We create 3 to 5 videos each week, so there's always something fun to inspire your creative spirit.